Hello, as promised, when this oil change was due, I was going to show you how to do this. This one uses a cartridge filter instead of a canister filter. This is a 2013 Dodge Journey with the 3.6 liter variable valve timing Penstar engine. Cartridge filters have become very popular recently. It's a lot less expensive than the canister filters, and it's a lot easier to do just because of the size and pure nature of the cartridge filters themselves. So it takes a lot less time to do cartridge changes than it does to do canister changes. Again, your engine oil is written on top of your engine cap. This is 5W20. Again, I always like to use full synthetics. I think the protection is much better. I'm not particular as far as brands, but what I do as far as brands, but as far as what I use is always the appropriate weight. This time I'm going to be using a 10W30 just because it's a little bit warmer out for the summertime. That way the oil stays a little bit more viscous, and next oil change in the summertime will be alright. The 5W is a little bit of a lighter weight, so this will offer a little better protection inside the heat for what oil change that we're using. So first thing that we want to do is we want to open up our engine service cap. It says right here, remove for oil filter service. Just give it a twist, take it off. You can set it off to the side. Right down inside here, if you'll look, this is the actual cartridge. So all it does is, instead of you having a physical canister housing the filter element, they have the housing already there, and all we're doing is replacing the filter element inside it itself. So as far as tools that you'll need a thumb wrench, you'll need a regular wrench with an extension, and you need a thumb wrench to do the change in the pan, a 6 to 10 inch extension, and a 24mm socket. I'm going to check the rotation, make sure lefty loosey, righty tighty, twist to the left. You want to socket that right on top of the nut that's on the canister itself, and twist it loose. Once I have that loose, I'll set my wrench off to the side, and I'll just remove the canister. Yes, a little bit of oil will leak out when you're doing this. And right here is what your old cartridge looks like inside of there. Alright, so you just grab hold of your cartridge, and give it a yank out, set that down. There's a ring inside here. We're going to remove the ring as well. We'll move over, get our new cartridge. This is a Purelator. Again, I'm not particular as far as brands themselves, but when you get your cartridges, check them and make sure that they have plastic caps. Some of them will have cardboard. I'm not a big fan of cardboard because anybody who sees when cardboard gets oil on it, has a tendency to start breaking down or coming apart. Plastic holds up much better. These are your filter elements in and of itself. There's a little bit of a locking cap that you're just going to insert inside of the cap, and that's going to lock in place where it's not going to go anywhere. Then inside of your cap, you're going to have a replacement ring that we can feed on onto our cap. Now there was enough oil that was still around here that my seal here is nice and lubricated. I'm just going to feed that back down. There's a little bit of a stick up there. Feed that back down on top. I'm going to hand thread it. Back on. Now you can see it's not all the way anchored, so we're going to take our wrench and throw that onto the top of that. torque that down. Now, you don't want to over torque that because you don't want to strip that, because the top is nothing more than plastic or polymer. So once it stops, you're done. Okay, you don't want to torque it down or anchor it or make it over tight or anything like that. So now that we're done with that, set those tools back off to the side. We can take our filler cap, align it with the holes, and anchor it back down. So we're completely finished with that portion of the oil change. We'll get ourselves a shop towel, wipe off any excess. Our next step is we're going to remove the oil filler cap, which is right here. It should just be a simple twist, and it comes right up. Set that off to the side. All I did was open this up so that when I twist open the oil pan, it's going to free flow smoothly. I'm going to climb up underneath the vehicle. Now, if you actually want to use a real wrench instead of a thumb wrench, I believe it's a 13 millimeter for the oil filter or for the oil pan nut. So you're going to climb up underneath, get your drip pan ready, and we got to find our oil pan nut, which right here is going to be, right here is our oil pan for the engine. Right over here is, looks like transmission. So we're going to move our drip pan over to the side, and right here is our nut. And put your thumb wrench onto the nut and twist it until you get a nice bite on that. Then what we want to do, I want to just twist it loose. My wrench doesn't want to bite today. And once you have it broken loose, you're just going to twist it off. Now, I will give you a word of caution. When you first pull your vehicle up onto the ramps, or if you're climbing up underneath it, you want to make sure that the vehicle cooled. Otherwise, this engine oil that comes out is going to be scalding hot. We don't want to burn ourselves. Also, if you're using an oil filter with two pans, make sure that your air port is open. Otherwise, your oil is not going to drain, and it runs the risk of running over the sides. So, we're going to take our nut out. We're going to examine our nut a little bit to make sure that there's no metal shavings or anything that's trapped onto the end. It's part of engine maintenance, because anytime metal fibers are present, that means you have a breakdown in your engine or something is starting to shave metal. There's no metal fibers present in this, which is a very good sign. We'll just let that oil drain out. One of the reasons that you want to check for metal fibers on the filler or on the plug is that the metal fibers are heavier than the oil. So when the engine settles from being running, all the metal's going to settle right down here onto the pan itself and usually accumulate right around the tip for the pan or for the plug. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set my plug off to the side. While that's still running, I'm going to climb out, and just to make sure that I get the best run of oil through there, I like to run a half a quart through the engine itself before I start putting in anything pressure inside of it.
Do you want the camera?
So what I'll do is I'm just going to take my quart of oil, see it starting to lighten up, then I know it's good. So it's running through, and you can see went from a dark black to a nice golden. That's helping rinse out all that extra carbon that's accumulated inside of the engine. Down to about a trickle. I'll let that go. Alright, and that looks like all fresh oil that's starting to come out now. So that's fairly clean compared to what it was. We'll take our plug, reinstall our plug. Be careful not to cross thread. Again, put it on finger tight. Once you're on finger tight, you can take your crescent wrench or thumb wrench, stick that back on there, and just a quarter turn to snug it down. Now it's snug down, we can close up all of our ports here. And we'll move this towards the front in case we spill any oil. Again, with your used oil, please be mindful of what you do with your used oil. Lots of shops will take your used oil. Please don't just dump it out in the grass or deposit it in the ground. I mean, you could be damaging waterways or, hurting wildlife or anything. You don't want to do that. So might as well give it to somebody who can use it as a waste oil burner to heat their garage or whatever they need to do. A lot of them will take it off your hands for free. All it takes is the 5-minute drive to a local shop who's willing to do that. Now we're going to start to fill our engine. Again, this neck is here for a reason, and that reason is for the way you fill your oil. You don't want to pour it this way because it's going to come out right away. You want to turn it so that your neck is facing inward, put it as close as you can, and then start to pour right inside there. And that way you can do that. Now what I did is I picked up a 5-quart oil for this because this will actually hold, I think it's 5.6 quarts. And I like to cheat a little bit when it comes to doing this because trying to use single quarts, you spill a little bit. Trying to use a 5-quart system, you'll spill a lot. So you get yourself a razor blade, cut off the bottom of your quart that you just stuck in there. Careful not to cut your fingers. And now we have our own funnel. We can then take our 5-quart oil and using our makeshift funnel, fill the engine, take a look. So we have about a quart left inside, so we're going to hold off on that last quart because we don't want to overfill it. What we'll do is we'll remove our makeshift funnel, wipe off any excess that we have. We can throw our tap back onto our funnel, set that off to the side. Replace our engine oil cap, and we're going to start up the engine, back it off of the ramp so that we can check the engine oil on level ground. We'll fire up the vehicle. Remove your parking brake. And we'll back it off. Now that little bit of a run was just enough that it pumped it up into the cartridge. So whatever oil needed to soak up into there is already soaked up, and it will be just fine. Now we're going to, again, you never want to take the first reading off of the first stab. So we back it off, wipe it off, take your stab, and take your reading. You can see we're slightly below safe, so we're about a quart low. We're going to open this back up. Reinstall our funnel. And finish filling. Put our last quart in there. And we'll go with another reading. Let's see what we got. And right now, we're right in between the lines of the safe, so it's a perfect oil change. Well, and that's basically how it's done. It's done the same way on basically all cartridge filter vehicles. The Mazdas have a similar setup for this. A lot of the Fords. Most of your newer Dodge, anything with the 3.6 liter Pennstar is going to have that cartridge filter. So hope you liked the video, hope it helped you out, hope you saved a few dollars, and please click like and subscribe. Thank you.